All right. So many people have asked me to make a video going from start to finish setting up RadioDJ. All right, so we're going to start off with installing the Maria database. So what you want to do is you want to go to MariaDB.org, as you see here. When you get there, you will see this download link. Sometimes it doesn't show up. If not, you can go over here to the download up at the top menu. I'm going to recommend that you get an earlier version, and I'm going to take it all the way back to 10.3. I think that's a good version. And we're going to select the x86-64 that covers both 32 and 64-bit, and we want the MSI package. And we're just going to click download. All right, so it's downloading. And what I decided to do was to do, someone needs me to set them up. So I decided I'd record everything I'm doing while I'm setting them up to make this video, because I already have on all of my systems, Maria database is already installed. I chose Maria database over MySQL because it is the simplest, easiest, and it's actually faster than MySQL. MySQL has become corporatized over the past few years, and it has become too complicated because of that. All right, so the download is done. I'm going to click on open the file. We're just going to do it step by step, one at a time. You're going to come to the wizard. You're going to click next. You're going to click I accept the terms or the license agreement. You're going to hit next. You can see where it's going to put it. You don't need to change any of that. You're going to hit next. And then right here, you need to create a password, and you need to write this password down somewhere. All right. And I'm also going to suggest that you select use UTF-8 as the default character set. I'm going to click next. Just click next. You don't need to do anything. Do not check that box. Click next and click install. All right, comes up. It says, are you sure? You're going to say yes. Once this is complete, you are done with Maria database. All you have to do is remember the password that you had. That's all you have to remember. Write it down somewhere. Hit finish. All right, so the next website I want to go to is to RadioDJ. The website RadioDJ is on itself. When you get there, go to the download page. I'm going to suggest that you use the latest stable, what they call the stable version. So we're going to do RadioDJ 2.0.0.6 for this video. At this time, this video was made, which is August the 12th, 2021. As you can see, he is working on some other versions, but he's having some issues. You want to get all that worked out. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to run the setup for RadioDJ. You wish to continue? Yes. Accept the license agreement. Right here is where you can do several things. You can change where you install RadioDJ. And if you want to run more than one station, you could do RadioDJ A, and then the next time you run it, you can do RadioDJ B for the second station. The next time you run it, you can run RadioDJ 2C for the second station. Okay? Oh, third station. Does not exist. Yes, make it. Now, at this point, let's say you got 3 stations. What I would do is I would change this to the name of your stations. You know, I'll just do that. That's the name of this station. That way, each station will have its own startup menu. Now, when this comes to this, we're going to say start the database setup. This is why we did the Maria database first. All right, so when you get to this, of course, you see it says MySQL server is offline. So we need to put in that password that we created. Right here where it says MySQL password. And then click validate details to see if we get a connection. All right, as you see, MySQL server is online. We have a connection. If you were doing multiple radio stations, it's very important that you give each station their own database name. Just like we had to give each station their own folder, you would also have to give each database their own name. This is what separates the different stations from each other. So in the other example, I said if you had multiple stations, you would do 2A for one station. Oh, you can even change this to the name of the station if you wanted to. So let's do that. But before we do that, well, yeah, that's fine. So let's say I'm going to call this KPEO DB. Okay, I'm going to call it KPO DB. If I had another station like my station, WNIA, it would be WNIA DB. Then my other station, Real People Talk, for short, I call it RP Talk. So I would name the database or short name for each of the stations. Each station has to have its own database. Each station has to have its own folder. Once this is done, you're going to hit install database. Are you sure? Boom. That's it. You're done. Okay. Now RadioDJ is ready to run, but before we run RadioDJ, we're going to continue with our installation stuff. Okay. So the next thing we want to download is VB Audio. We want to go over to vb-audio.com. Several things I'm going to recommend that you get while we're over here. We want to definitely do Voicemeeter Banana. And we want to get some of the one of the free audio cables. So we're going to click on this Audio Pro tab here. And is it on this page? It may not be. It's not on this page. Let's go back up. I'm sorry. We're going to go to Audio Apps. All right. So the first thing I want to do is I want to grab this virtual audio cable. And we're under the Audio Apps category. This is a Windows machine, of course. So we're going to download this one. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to go to where this is at. And I'm going to open that folder up. And I'm going to right click and say extract all. And then hit extract. It's going to make a folder that's the exact same name. We're going to go into that folder. And we're going to run the, now I get confused right here, but we're going to run the setup x64. So I'm going to right click. It's important that you run this as administrator. Make sure you run this as administrator. This is one of the cable packs. Sometimes I get confused as to which one of these we're supposed to do. If you see this, then you know you're on the right one. One of them will not do anything. So when you see this screen, you know you did the right one. Install the driver. Yes. or install. All right, so now that driver is installed, and they're going to take us to a little page. Let's go back over here to VB Audio. And we want to do Voicemeeter Banana. Now, if you're doing a lot of other things, they do have additional cables. They just want a small donation. If you're like me, I've done all of them. I did the A, B, and the C and the D. They require a small donation, though. It just comes in handy when you're doing a lot of things, especially if you have multiple stations. If you have multiple stations, I'm going to encourage you, go ahead and do A, B, C, and D. Just give them a small donation for those, because you're going to need those. Those are going to come in real handy when you have multiple stations on one computer. All right, so we're going to go to Voicemeeter Banana, that tab right here. Now, I run Voicemeeter Potato. That requires a donation. I think Banana is still free. And the reason why I do Potato, now, if you're going to do multiple stations, I would recommend getting the Potato. And in another video, I will show you why. What I do is I use virtual cables for all stations. So the virtual cables go straight from RadioDJ straight to the encoder. They do not pass through Voicemeeter Banana, because I like to talk through the input on RadioDJ. Some people like to talk through Voicemeeter Banana. I only use Voicemeeter Banana to monitor my station. So in my case, the first station comes in on this channel. The second one comes in on this channel, the third station on this one, and the fourth station is on this one. And then I come in from my mixer on this. So I can talk on any of the four stations. You know, of course, you would take them off of A1, because we generally use A1 as the playback, the monitor to the one set of speakers that we have. And so in this case, you can see station 1 and 2 would be, you wouldn't hear them. They might be streaming, but you don't hear them. In this case, station 3 and 4 would be playing at the same time. You would just have to turn one of them off, and you could, you know, listen to a station that you want to monitor. And that's how I do it. So we're going to go back to Voicemeeter Banana. I don't think I've downloaded it. So, all right. So we're going to download Voicemeeter Banana. Why are we doing this? We're downloading Voicemeeter Banana because if you do talk radio, you need to be able to talk without your vocals or your microphone echoing. Voicemeeter Banana allows us to do that. So we're going to download the exe file for Voicemeeter Pro, Voicemeeter Banana Pro. And we'll go ahead and get this set up. And what we're doing is we're setting up the main components that you need to get up and running. And that is the database, the automation software, this virtual mixer. This Voicemeeter Banana is really based on your needs. Some people don't even open up the mic. If you don't get on the microphone and talk, you will not need Voicemeeter Banana. Okay. All right. So we're going to open this file, and we're going to go ahead and install Voicemeeter Banana. We're doing all this before we do anything else. And then that way, once we click install, once we fire up RadioDJ, then we're ready to connect everything. All right, so it's completed. Some systems you may have to reboot. Some of them you will not have to reboot. Then after Voicemeeter Banana, we need an encoder. There are tons of encoders out there. You got butt, You have SCCaster. You got, I think Sam Broadcaster, they have one. If you're going to use SCCaster, you can go over to my website, carterscripts.com. You can scroll down to the bottom to the search function, and we're going to search for SCCaster. Just like that. All right, it's going to give you the results that I have on my site for SCCaster, and we're going to choose this first one. The reason why we're going here is because there's a download link to it. I do not host the software. There's a video on using it, and we want to go and we're going to click to where it says download SCCaster here. Okay. It's going to take you over here to MediaFire, and rather than give you all of this up at the top, I just take you to my site, click there, and it's going to take you there. And then we're going to download this. And then you're going to get a bunch of junk. Okay. They want you to watch this bull crap. Okay. They want that they want that little page that comes up. They want it to show because they make money from their advertisers. So we'll let it come up. Once it fully comes up, then the download will begin. Okay. So if I go back here to download. Oh, they want to act funny. All right, so what we'll do, we're going to go back to reinstigate or reset the link. So we're going to go back, download it, just wait for this to do what it does. You don't have to click on anything or sign up for anything. I'm going to block Rose We. Okay. And I'm thinking the download link should have come. Yeah, it did. Okay. It does it in the background so fast sometimes you don't even realize. Okay, so now we're just going to go to the folder. We don't want to open up that file. We want to go to the folder. We're going to right click on that and we're going to extract it. It's going to create a folder with the same name. And we're just going to copy this folder. I'm going to cut it and copy it. And this folder is going to go, we're going to put it inside the RadioDJ folder. Control V to paste it in there. So now SCCaster is inside of the RadioDJ folder. To me, it's just a great place to keep it. So go into that folder and right click on the little icon that says SCCaster, and we're going to send a link to our desktop. Okay. So now that we have the 4 main pieces that we need, now memorize that. When we go back to the desktop, you will see HeidiSQL. You need that. So let me show you what HeidiSQL does. When you first run HeidiSQL, it has no connections. So we're going to select new, and we'll call it Maria. Okay. That's the name. And remember that password? We're going to put that password right here. And when you do, hit the save right here, because what it's going to do, it's going to save that password so that you can connect to Maria database without having to need it. So the next time you run it, all you got to do is click on the open. You select it and click on the open. And what it does is it allows you to log in. And in here, you can do things such as repair your database. Under the tools, you got maintenance. And you can do stuff like check, optimize, repair your database, things of that nature. So that's the purpose of HeidiSQL. So now we're ready for RadioDJ and Voicemeeter Banana, which I do not see. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to make a desktop shortcut for Voicemeeter. So we're going to browse. I'm sure. Let's see. Let's go over here. Yeah. We'll just do it this way. We'll just right click. We want to pin it to the start, but I want to send it to, also, I like pinning Voicemeeter Banana to the taskbar at the bottom for quick, easy access. So we don't even need this shortcut here. We can just delete that. All right, so I'm going to launch Voicemeeter. Now, this client right here has the Rode mixer. All right, and apparently we're going to select this speakers. And what I want to do is right here for virtual inputs, I'm going to double click. Or right click. You just got to position it properly. I'm going to call this RadioDJ. Okay. And I guess you got to position the mouse above the words of the sound card down here. And I'm going to right click. And I'm going to call this the Q. Okay. The other thing we're going to do, we're going to use, we'll use B1 for streaming. Okay. We're going to use B1 for streaming. So when I launch SCCaster, it's going to come up like this. We're going to set the sound card to Voicemeeter. Well, we'll do auxiliary out. Voicemeeter auxiliary out. We're going to do by the device name. We need to change this to 44.1. And we want this to start with Windows. And we're going to hide it to the system tray, but I'm not going to do that right now. The other thing I want to do is the title update. I'm going to click on this title update. It's already on from a file, but we need to tell it what file. So we're going to click on this. And it takes you to the default. So all we got to do is back up until we come to the RadioDJ folder. And inside of the RadioDJ folder is a noun playing file. Select that as your file. And remember when I told you to select UTF-8? Same thing here. Everybody's going to be on one accord. All right. And then we're going to say hi to the system tray. Now what that's going to do, as soon as I click save, that thing is going to disappear, but it's only going to the system tray. Okay. So it went to the system tray. So if you go over to the system tray, you will see it right here. You double click on it to bring it back out. Don't know what that is. All right. So we got this kind of set and we got that set. I'm going to memorize Voicemeeter Banana. We're going to start RadioDJ. All right, now the first thing I want to do is I want to maximize RadioDJ. And I'm going to do some settings that's going to help me later on. So the first thing I want to do is click on the wrench down here in the bottom right corner. That's the options wrench. And we're going to go to options again. And the first thing I want to do is I want to clear out some of this on the bottom row right here. We don't need all of those. We need some space down there. So when you go to the settings right here, options and then options, let me do that again. When you go to options on the bottom corner and then options here, you come up here to your settings. We're going to do the sound card, but I want to do this other thing first. So I'm going to go over to the other settings right here. And I don't need the audio processing. And I don't need the folder sync. Everything else can stay. Also, I'm going to scroll down. And by default, this points automatically to the album art of the installation folder. But let's say you named this the name of your station. Then you would need to change that here. Same thing up here. For where it's going to do the recordings, you need to rename that to the location. Now, this recordings right here can be on any drive. It can be on a flash drive, or SD card, or whatever. It doesn't have to be in this folder. I don't recommend putting it in that folder, to be honest with you. Okay. The other thing I'm going to recommend that you do right here where it says color scheme, click on this little edit the color scheme and then click on save as and give it the name of your station. Okay. And then when you exit out of that, go over here and choose that. Probably got to close out. Go back to it. Should be there now. Choose that. That way, when you start messing with the colors and stuff, you will always have the default color scheme. Should you say, I screwed it up, I want to go back. All right, so now we're going to go over to the sound cards. And we're going to select the sound card that we want. I'm only going to deal with installation on this. I'm not going to deal with setting up RadioDJ. That's going to take too long. Our main out, we want to use auxiliary input. Am I doing that right? Yeah. Basically, we're telling RadioDJ to send the signal to the auxiliary. No. I'm sorry. We want Voicemeeter input. Voicemeeter input will be this right here. It doesn't say it here, but this is Voicemeeter input and this is Voicemeeter auxiliary input. Okay. So Voicemeeter input there. Now the Q, remember I told you about the Q. That's the one we're going to choose, Voicemeeter auxiliary input. That's the one on the right. And then the rest of these will all be Voicemeeter input. Now I'm going to do something different here. And this is just from experience. I'm actually going to use the virtual cable for RadioDJ. Let me think. No, we can't. Well, yes, we can. I'm going to leave it like this. I have to do an advanced video to explain that. All right. The input sound card. If you plan on talking through RadioDJ, you will have to choose whatever it is you're going to use to talk through RadioDJ. He has not hooked up the Rode mixer yet, so I'll just choose that. And also, I would move these from 2 down to 1. Basically what it's saying, they want you to drop the music down to 1, a setting of 1 whenever a voiceover goes or whenever you open up the mic or whatever in RadioDJ. I find a setting of 1 works really, really well. All right, so now we're going to hit close. And the reason why I did it in this order is because we're going to restart. We have to restart RadioDJ. We have to actually close it all the way out. We won't be allowed to do anything until we restart it. All right. I don't know if he has any audio on his system or not. And now you can start configuring the layout. Personally, I like for my auxiliary, I don't hardly use these, so I want them out of my way. I want more real estate over here for when I'm searching for stuff. So I'm going to go here to the wrench, the options, and then I'm going to hit plugins. So it's options, which is the wrench. That's the first options. And then plugins. When plugins comes up, I'm going to double click on auxiliary players. By default, they're in zone 4. So this is zone 4. To the left of that is zone 3. That's where I'm going to move these guys, so they'll be out of my way. Another thing I want to do while I'm in here is I want to go to playlist, which should be called Q, to be honest with you, but I get it. And I'm going to drop this down to about 4. What that's going to do is that's going to make these guys over here bigger so I can see the names a lot more. The names of the song and the song title and the artist. I can see the information a lot better. While you're in here, another thing you can do, track manager. Anything you don't need to see when you do track manager or search, uncheck it. I think sometimes you got to do double click. Just uncheck them because they just take up real estate on your screen and show you a bunch of stuff you don't need. I like to leave my count played on there. It kind of helps me see who's getting played and who's not. All this other stuff I do not need on my playlist. Duration's cool. Intro, do not need. Album, that's up to you. And this section over here, the search section, looks crazy because it's got a lot of stuff checked. We don't need all this stuff. All we need is artist title, maybe the duration, so we can see how long it is. Maybe how many times it's played. We don't need ratings because we haven't set that up, and we don't need that. It's in zone 2. We want real-time refresh, and we want album search. So be able to search for album and hit OK. And now you're ready to start programming your RadioDJ. Now let me see if he got any kind of audio. I may have to call him, pause this video and call him because he's waiting on me. And I don't think there's anything over here that can play. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna pause the video, and if there's anything else I need to mention in this video, I will mention it. But now you're ready to go. I will call him in a minute here and get some audio going to make sure and confirm that we do have audio flowing through Voicemeeter Banana and through SCCaster in this case. All right, so he did not have any audio on the system, so I went and grabbed an audio file online, and we're going to add it into RadioDJ. So let's add this audio file in the RadioDJ. So we're going to click on our options, and we're going to go to track import. To add a song, of course, the plus blue sign. This is to add a single song, and it's under music, insect, night sounds. I just found it sound effects. All right, and we're going to put that in music. Actually, we can put it in sound effects. Hey, why not? right? And we need to do some metadata. So we're going to click on the details tab to do some metadata. All right, so I just put in some metadata. Hit Save ID. This is very important. If you're going to spend the time correcting this information, you don't want to have to do it again later. So hit ID Save 3, and now I'm going to import that in. Okay. All I want to do is I want to know, do we got sound running? And if so, is it going through the Voicemeeter, and is it making its way over to the encoder? So I'm going to double click on this. And this is loading up in the front. So we're going to hit the play button. Now RadioDJ has this function up here called loop. So I'm going to turn on that loop so that sound can loop. Okay. On Voicemeeter, we see we got some action coming in. And we do have it coming in on the channel that we labeled RadioDJ. This is why we chose inside of RadioDJ. This is why we chose Voicemeeter Voicemeeter input. Okay. We can't hear the sound because I'm actually remoted into somebody else's computer. So because I chose Voicemeeter aux output, that means B2. B2 is the Voicemeeter aux output, and B1 is the Voicemeeter output. Okay. So we see we got a very strong signal coming through Voicemeeter, coming from RadioDJ into Voicemeeter, and it's making its way around to the encoder. So we have audio on the encoder. So we know we're ready to stream. Now, when you get ready to stream, you're going to log into your streaming provider, and down here in the middle section is where you add multiple stream hosting. Okay. So you click the plus red sign, and it allows you to set up your streaming and everything. I will recommend, whatever you want. I would recommend the title mode. Again, there's that UTF-8. Set that to that, and set this to auto start. And whatever bit rate you're going to run at, set it to lock. You have the option of OGG, AAC, and AAC Plus with this encoder. And once you put in your information, I don't have anything to put in. Once you put in, you hit save. Let's say if I just put something stupid in. All right, say I saved that. And it should be under here. Oh, there we go. Don't know why. All right, so it will show up here. And usually when you hit the save, it'll start running automatically. If not, just highlight it and hit run. And of course, you're going to get your error messages. We know it can't open the stream because I just created something stupid. However, if it was connected, this status right here would turn to online. Once it says online, that means you are streaming. To edit this, you would just double click on it, or I'm sorry, highlight it and click on this guy in the middle, and then you can edit this. To delete it, you hit the minus sign. You highlight it and hit the minus sign. All right, so I hope this has helped you in terms of setting up the 4 main components that you will need. That is the database, RadioDJ itself, Voicemeeter Banana. You will only need Voicemeeter Banana if you're going to talk on your radio station, and your encoder. Let's say you don't want to talk on your radio station and you don't need Voicemeeter Banana. What would you do? Let's pause this guy. And I'll tell you what I do. On my stations, all 4 of them that are on one computer, I use a virtual cable. Okay. I have about 4 virtual cables because I pay for the other ones. So this cable input, now I will use the monitoring. I will use Voicemeeter to monitor stations so I can hear the station myself. But I would push each station to their own virtual cable. Okay. That's what I do. Now, I talk on my station, so that means I will hear a echo. But what I do to compensate for that echo is the mixer that I use just to monitor everything. I just turn RadioDJ down on it. I just turn the fader down on that mixer because it does not affect what goes out over the stream. So if I'm not going to use Voicemeeter Banana, I'm going to connect it straight to the virtual audio cable. Believe it or not, this gives you the best sound quality. Sound quality is incredible. So since we changed the audio settings, we would have to restart RadioDJ. I'm going to turn off Voicemeeter Banana. Restart RadioDJ. We're going to throw this in there and get it going again. Okay. Memorize that. Now, you're not going to get anything on the encoder until we change the encoder to use the virtual cable. And you have to keep up with these virtual cable names. So I'm going to choose this virtual cable straight. So RadioDJ is going straight to the encoder. I don't need Voicemeeter Banana to run because I'm going straight out of RadioDJ straight to the encoder. As far as the metadata is concerned, we're not going to see it over here because the encoder is not working. But you can check that. So I'm going to go over to C drive in the RadioDJ folder and look for that now playing. Let's see if because by default, I think it's set to work. Yep, there it is right there. Free sound effects. That's what I changed the metadata to. Nighttime insect sounds. Okay. So we know that the now playing text file is working. And whatever encoder you have, if that encoder is able to get metadata from a file, that's how you do it. Whether it's BUT, whether it's RadioCaster, SCCaster, there's so many of them out there. There's a section in the settings for those encoders, the ones that can do this, where it says get the title update or the metadata from a file. And what we're doing is we're pointing it to the RadioDJ /nowplaying.txt file in the RadioDJ folder. And so if we had an encoder that was working, we will see the name of that song because it's picking it up from there. Now, what I do, again, like I said, is when I talk on the microphone, I use the input button. So whatever input sound card that I have selected under options, and sound cards, scroll down. Whatever sound card my mixer board is connected to, that's what I'm going to put here. So whatever I do on the mixer, I can broadcast that over the airways simply by hitting the input button. So when I hit the input button, you saw how the meter dropped. That's because the music dropped so that I can talk over it. Then when I take that off, the meter jumps back up. I have many other videos on setting up RadioDJ. Even though those videos are for RadioDJ 182, the concept is still the same, but I'm going to have to redo those videos using the latest version because some people can't make the transition mentally. They can't see it. So I hope this has helped. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know your comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe and get the notifications. And I'll see you guys in the next video.